is not quite right.
Yeah. There's a little bit of movement here still, which that's why it's such a crazy thing to do. You want to have the stability and flexibility at the same time.
Yeah.
So when I tell you now that it should be stiffer,
yeah,
then that means that I say that now.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Because that's what you need right now.
Right, yeah.
But then in a few weeks, maybe you want to just, relax a little bit. Okay. So that's why don't worry so much.
Okay.
It'll all come. So it looks great. And you see can we go back a little bit as well? Just so if you go back to where you had the two hands for the daughter one exercise.
Yeah.
You see, so now there you can see something which is not ideal is where your left hand fingers move this way more when this hand comes, and the right hand more stays in line. So just pay attention. Just play it back.
Yeah. So what should my left hand be doing? Well,
so the right hand stays like this.
Yeah.
But here you're pulling back individual fingers to get out of the way.
Okay.
And you see so you want to distribute that action to be in both hands rather than just one hand pulling back twice as far. I'd say you want to do this.
I see. Okay.
So this idea of mirrored movement is true for thumb on the back of the neck versus release of the fingers. And also when you look at the hands, it's like this. You always want to have some sort of symmetry of movement.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And you can see you do that a little bit even when just using the left hand, but not as much obviously.
Yeah.
But this is good. Sounds great. So you notice your release has gotten 50 times better.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Really great.
It feels a lot better now.
Yeah, great. But you see, your right hand is generally even more in control than the left.
Yeah. Yeah, part of it has to do with the angle.
Exactly.
Yeah. And actually, I wanted to ask you, what is the right, which is this going to, let me phrase this a different way. I notice if my wrist is bent too much like that, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you never want that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm always thinking about.
Yeah, but you also don't want to go this way.
Right, yeah, no, but it never gets that far.
It needs to be somewhere in between and just relax and always mobile.
Yeah.
Right? And that's sort of the idea. One thing that usually helps is, and we never spoke about that, for beginners, it sometimes feels awkward to have the instrument or the side of the instrument, the neck, touch the skin of your palm.
I was going to ask, yeah.
It should, and it can touch the skin here. That's something you want to take advantage of, actually. So don't try to stay away from the instrument. That's why sometimes I use this metaphor of holding a baseball bat in your hands. Right? Okay. That's kind of like you want to have that kind of contact, not just with the fingertips, but with the whole of the hand.
Okay.
Of the inside of the hand. Sorry.
Because that happens naturally, but I assumed, I guess, that I shouldn't do that. So I've been trying to get my hand off of.
Yeah. Most of the time it will be off.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get distracted if you're touching.
It's not a big deal.
No, it's not a big deal. It's actually good. The more you can be, or the closer in touch you can be with the instrument, the better.
Great.
Great. You see that now on your left hand, you can see that it's basically the sun exercise. You're just moving up and then rolling and still moving up, and then you get yeah, you're doing 3 levels there, going back down, so it's almost constant. It can't ever be like constant, but it doesn't have to be.
Right, yeah.
Great. There again. Okay, can you go back just a few seconds?
Yeah.
So when you played the Lydian and the Ionian, okay, stop there. So you see that your pinky is pulling back a little bit there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So while it's not a problem because you're not using it,
Yeah.
but however, just be anal about there as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and think full release, and
Yeah.
put the pinky there.
Okay.
You know, as soon as we start introducing chromatics
Yeah.
into the pentachords, this will kind of like throw you off. It's kind of habit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep it in line with the string.
Yeah, even if you're not using it.
Okay.
And you see there, it's not a problem to do it, but you sort of need to activate it in order to be in position, and that shouldn't be the case. Should be always there,
Okay.
above the string.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even notice that I was doing that.
Okay, so this one would be a great exercise where when you're doing that, right? Da, 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 full release. Da, 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 full release.
Yeah.
And you can, there in this case, you can even think the full release as being all 8 fingers rather than just the 2 hands with 4 fingers.
Right. Okay.
Because it should already be starting that you get a sense that the hands get sort of like locked together as a unit rather than
being individual.
Yes,
hands.
yes.
Yeah.
Do you have that sort of experience already?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes like having like this mental instruction to say, okay, now I'm making a full release, both hands come to, all 8 fingers come down together, helps to kind of like chunk the 2 hands into 1 hand basically.
Yes. Okay.
And that's an opportunity with this exercise. Great. Fantastic. Yeah, let's maybe stop there for a moment. So the centipede exercise, right? Great. So now you could already see this magic that starts to happen, that the hands start moving independently, spatially independently, which really is the foundation of like you have all the skill to hear parts separately already, and you play polyrhythms and stuff, and that will be easy for you. But now what happens is that your movements kind of like happen in the like in a subconscious multitasking universe, let's say, where like, okay, this hand does something and this hand already has a sense of where it wants to be.
Yeah.
And that will make playing 2-part pieces, easy for you.
Yeah. It's so fascinating because it does happen automatically somehow. When you're playing that exercise, the hands know where to go, and
yes,
and I don't have to tell them.
No, you don't have to tell them, and this is like what I keep stressing all the time is some things they're impossible to really put into words, and it's sort of the exercise that speaks to you or teaches you. And I still find that fascinating as well, and it looks really, really good.
Thanks.
Okay, so here this again, like great. Okay, you can see a little bit of the hands
not necessarily going to the notes, but the fingers go to the notes, which introduces tension. So you could have more.
My hand is stretched out
A little bit, yeah, especially the right hand, right? So what also helps is to think in terms of rotation of, I don't even know how you call this part here.
Yeah.
Right? So the elbow at the elbow, you want to be able to rotate here, and like what if you just transfer that over to, it means like turning the hand like this. Yeah, exactly. You get that. Yeah, you get that from the roll, like of the the daughter or the mother exercise. But you can also think of it as, and this is kind of like harder, as something that goes like this. So.
Wait, do that again.
Yeah, it's a very subtle difference, and I'm just trying to put it into words. So just turning here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can still think like kind of linearly with your fingers, but in order to play finger 4, if you go between first and fourth finger, you would turn the hand slightly, ever so slightly. Not too much, because you want to avoid, and this is a problem that I still have a little bit. You want to avoid that the pinky comes at an angle that goes like this towards the string. You want it to be like this, really.
Yeah.
So any of this back and forth rocking here should be happening on this side. So you don't want to be here and do that.
Right.
You want to be here and do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah, here, from here. And you don't want to be here and do that. You want to be here.
Got it.
Yeah. So, and here, like again, the idea is that the diagonal that we want to, that we want to use to attack behind the fret, we want to come from here, going towards the pickup area, right?
Yes.
You don't want to. You don't want to go this way.
Right. That doesn't work. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And here you can see that if you had your hand tilted ever so slightly this way, and then you would compensate by having a little bit of a twitch here. That would make that, and twitch in addition to the traveling along the string, obviously.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So you're doing a little bit of that, but
reverb.
Yeah, but what you're doing is great. So you're spreading out the. Okay. You're spreading out the pitches, like you're playing like first string and fifth or fourth string with the right hand, and the two strings in between you play them with the left hand, and that's exactly the kind of mindset to play this instrument, where like the hands are interacting, and the pitches that the hands cover interact at any time, and they're not necessarily placed linearly within one hand.
Right. Yeah.
So that's great. Cool. You can find all sorts of beautiful chords by just sticking to one approach like that, and you just move things around, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I love searching for those voicings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else do we have? I can't quite do it, but I could see how that would be a way to do continuous.
Yeah. There's even a way that is even more efficient than that, because on the top 3 strings you have that same note in reach on 3 strings.
Would you just?
So you would go 4 1 1 or so 1 1 4 pattern of 3 would give you continuous tremolo.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to.
We can
look at it on the instrument later.
Yeah. Huh. And the cool thing about that is that the top note of that tremolo you could play with the pinky, and then you still have like these 3 fingers free to play bass notes underneath an arpeggiated tremolo note.
Cool.
Great. like these staccato notes you're getting there, like whip, whip, like these accents is very, very good.
Yeah, I guess with that I have no choice, because if they're too long, then I accidentally mute the string.
Yeah, sure. You have no choice, but also then you could really mess it up with a bad release.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
which you're not doing, so it's good.
Great.
Yeah, this touch raw stuff sounds great with a touch guitar, because it's like the dynamics translate into modulation of the sound.
Okay.
And it's super cool.
Yeah, I gotta play with that more.
It's one of the things that Trey Gunn did very early on in the early '90s. He had, like, when he was still playing stick, he used these envelope followers.
Yeah.
And he got this really beautiful sounds that way.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only played with it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, you need to experiment more, because it really also makes you play very dynamically.
Yeah, I imagine. I love those distorted, dissonant intervals.
Yes.
And I'm noticing all of the melodies that I come up with now are within this 5-note pentachord range, because that's what I've been practicing.
Cool. That's the beginning. That's the start.
Okay, we've seen this.
So there's one thing to take note of, is that you're mostly in what we call the crossed bracket in what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but most of the time. So left hand plays a lower note.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Right.
If you're experimenting more, jamming more, let's just try to break that by sometimes if you catch yourself doing that, then ask yourself, okay, could I do this by playing that same low note with the right hand, and see which other options open up.
Okay. Yeah.
Just as an idea.
Okay.
I always try to have that in mind.
Good to know.
Yeah. And so here now you're starting to do these anchors, like one note is held down in the left hand, while you're also playing with the second finger. Great. That will be like the third level of the family with the grandparents.
Okay. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I ran out of phrases.
Yeah, but you saw like the last note. It sucked because your hand didn't travel. Right? You can. I mean, it's
right.
It's always like that. If you don't get a good note, it's because the hand didn't really go to where it needs to be.
Gotcha. Oh, and
nice.
Yeah, I found that yesterday.
Playing 10th or
yes. That was kind of a mind-blowing moment to realize how to do the whole scale. You know, when to do a major, when to do a minor.
Yes. So here you see you get the buzz on the low note because it's not behind the fret.
Yeah.
And again, look, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that, because we can utilize those sounds, but just become aware of them.
Yeah, I mean.
And the more you kind of like become aware of these sounds, the more subconsciously your body will correct.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely happening a lot more now.
Yeah, no,
when I hear the buzz, I know that's the same buzz I hear if I'm too far from the fret.
Yes. Yeah. I have the score of that piece for you.
That
if you
could be
wanted
fun.
to start working on that with fingering.
Yeah, that would be super fun, actually.
Yeah, I can send you that.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Because I don't know how the rest goes. Like, I've got the first part and then. Yeah.
It's actually in 4.
Oh, really?
I think. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
no,
not.
you might be right. Yeah. I don't know why I played in 3.
Because you're an odd kind of guy.
Yeah, I can't resist. Can't help it. At least I didn't play it in 5. Or 13.
Yeah, I like how you approach this. You have a good tone. You're trying to use the hands interactively.
Yeah.
And not just trying to play a part with one hand, which is exactly the way you want to do it at the beginning.
Yeah, it's too hard to play a melody with one hand anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's possible, but I'm not there yet.
It will come.
Oh. Oh, this actually was interesting. So this was Stevie Wonder, and I just noticed how it was something starting to happen with the ear training where I can know where the next note is.
Yes.
It's wild.
Yes. I still have, after years of doing this, still have these experiences. Yesterday I was going between Dorian, Pentachord, and Lydian.
Yeah.
And suddenly, like, I noticed that my fingers, I didn't have to think anymore, and that my fingers automatically raised the 4th, let's say, when going to the Lydian.
Yeah.
Which it's cool to see.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because that was the first time I played that melody. I didn't practice it. It's
yeah,
crazy. All right, almost done here. What else we have? I think I got the last lick. Yeah.
You could say, yeah, just reverb, but it's beautiful, you see, and you have control over the resonances already. So it sounds good because you go from one chord to the next, you go from one note to the next, and there's no popping, and like you're already like on purpose, you're making the right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I like the string noise.
Yes. And you see, you're doing this kind of this way.
Yeah.
So when you're playing slowly, when you're practicing or playing or practicing slowly, you can also just already play put vibrato on a note.
Make it a little more.
Make musical. A little more, yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, if it's an exercise, then try to like put the same kind of vibrato on every note of the pentachord, for example.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So in a situation like this, where, yeah, exactly. So you'll see, like when the hands start reaching, when the right hand reaches over the left hand, you might as well simply switch to the other orientation of the bracket.
Yeah, probably makes more sense.
Yeah. But that's, well, I don't think that's going to be hard for you. For me, it was hard for a while to right hand as the leading hand.
Interesting.
I don't think you have that problem.
Yeah, they're about the same.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's what we got here.
So no gent this time?
No gent this time, unfortunately. Yeah, I'll put that on my list of things to do.
Yeah, man, I'm proud of you. This is really, really, really great. Like you definitely could already use the instrument in a musical context.
Well, thank you.
I mean, what do you think?
I still feel very limited with what I can do, and I feel like the physical movements are much better after a month. That's for sure. My kind of musical knowledge, melody and harmony, is a little bit better, but I still don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of reaching in the dark.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's the order that we have to do this in, and
Yes.
it's feeling much better, and I have a lot more control over the sound and release, and so it's coming along.
And how would you describe what you're after with like having a better sense of melody and harmony on the instrument? How would you define that? Let's try to be a little bit more precise, because then maybe we can already tailor something to go in that direction.
Well, like, I guess two things. So, in terms of melody, expanding into the other half of the octave.
Sure.
And then also, for chords, it would just be nice to know, if I want to play the 4 chord or 5 chord, but where do I go? How do I get to these places? And I was starting to experiment with those the tenths moving up and down. So I'm starting to understand the shapes of the intervals and where they are. I still am not very familiar with the top 2 strings because it's different.
Yeah, don't worry about those.
Yeah.
Because the approach for them is different. They are sort of like extensions of the strings that are tuned in fifths. Like, so the 1st and the 4th string are the same pitch, and 2nd and 6th string. Yeah. And so the idea is to kind of like make them sort of like see them as copies. So if you play if you know where you are on string 4, you know where you are on string 1.
Gotcha.
Same between 2 and 6.
Yeah.
And those are the simple relationships. And then you have the relationships that go across like a 2 by 2 box, for example, between 2nd and 4th string. 2nd and 4th string, which is also an octave. And we will get into that. But there are like these boxes, like there's the 4 by 4 box, which is 2 octaves on 5th, etc. And that way we will integrate the top strings into what you're learning in the 5th tuning.
Okay, yeah.
And then, like there are fingerings for pentachords on the top strings, but you play them with one hand. Like now, the way that I introduce the pentachords to you is you always use 2 hands. But obviously, it doesn't stop there. You can just play the 2 parts of the pentachord also with 1 hand.
Cool, yeah.
And that is the approach for the top 3 strings to learn.
Okay, yeah.
We'll get there,
sure.
It's all in good time.
Yeah. All right, well, chords are something I'm getting more and more interested into, and I don't know the best way to practice that. Maybe it's learning arpeggios and.
Okay. So there's chords within the pentachord system, which are very, very important to understand where the notes are, like more in the context of melodic thinking, let's say. Yeah. But then there are also chord shapes, just like on any other guitar instrument. Yeah. And there's a very simple process of learning them, which I can show you. There's always like 6 basic shapes for each chord, because you have like open voicings, which are the ones is the one that you just played with a 10th, right?
Yeah.
So all you need to do is add the 5th in the middle.
Yeah.
And you would have the full chord.
Right.
That's the crossed orientation, and there's the uncrossed orientation, which gives you the closed voicings.
Okay.
So where you actually would have your C, E, G within one octave.
Yes, like these 3 fingers on the top 3.
Like on the top 3, or on the strings tuned in 5th, it would be that you would have the root on the pinky, right? And then you would have the major third here with the first finger, and then you had the 5th here with the left hand. It would give you a closed voicing C, E, G like this, right?
Okay.
Or you would get C, E flat, G. So again, we'll get there.
Okay. Yeah. No.
And once we start putting the pentachords across the strings, all of this should become more apparent.
Yeah, I mean, I trust you have a plan of some kind. I mean, the pentachords are definitely helping for. I'm starting to learn where the notes are, and that's a very important foundational thing that I'm sure I need to know.
For sure.
I mean,
yeah, you shouldn't underestimate that.
yeah. I should know where the notes are, huh? Yeah. Cool.
Great.
All right. Well, onward and upward.
Yes.